Hey everyone, checking in on some of the major names. We're going to start it off with XRP because XRP gave us the most clear break of the tight pattern that has been playing out at this point for almost a month, but there are certainly red flags on this bull break attempt. So we had the equilibrium that we've been watching as things just continue to get tighter and tighter, and the most recent levels that we were looking at had the lower high at 3249 here on Bitfinex, and the higher low was at 311. So we got the bull break. We broke 1, 2, 3 resistance levels. So far, so good. When you're breaking an equilibrium, if you're only breaking the first level closest to you and you're struggling at the second level, that's a red flag. But we saw the increase in volume, the clear volume strike, and the bull breaks of multiple levels with quick follow through. And then from that point on, we looked at the 5-minute time frame, and it started off being very healthy consolidation, no red flags as well. Bull volume on the way up, low bear volume on the way down. I entered a stop buy, my first XRP trade ever on Coinbase Pro. In response to this, there was some pretty bad slippage, but fortunately it wasn't too bad for my order, and it looks like I got in a little bit before some of that slippage. But bottom line is, the first red flag wasn't on XRP for me. The first red flag was on Bitcoin. And the first things I did was look at where did my order fill. I looked at the 5-minute chart. It was at right about here. And I said, all right, this is fine, healthy consolidation. There's no red flags at this point. But then I went to Bitcoin and I looked at the 4-hour time frame for Bitcoin, and we're still trying to change this trend to confirm that the daily higher low has been established. And at this point, this is Coinbase. We've rejected from 38.75, 69, 69, 68, and then 71. So the bull move this morning that triggered XRP to break resistance and see all those stop buys trigger did not see Bitcoin break its resistance. Bitcoin quadruple topped within a $6-7 range from resistance and rejected hard. And that was my red flag. So we have the low, the bull attempt to break, we reject. This is right when Ripple makes its bull break and sees all these stop buys push the price up. Bitcoin instantly rejects from resistance and pulls back hard, leading to a significant pullback in XRP after its bull break. So now on XRP, the hourly time frame, we're still looking for a tightening range. We have the low before the breakout, high of the breakout, higher low, and we're looking for an hourly lower high to be set. I exited the majority of my position at a small loss when I saw the red flag of Bitcoin, and I still have a small position that I will use the 4-hour, or I should say the hourly support level. If that breaks, that will exit the rest of the position. So didn't use a huge order because the liquidity for XRP is not ideal on Coinbase, and the stops triggering showed us that. But bottom line is, we do need to see follow through for Ripple to see an equilibrium. If this is as strong of an hourly bounce as the bulls can put together, that's a red flag that absolutely is favoring the bears. So we have to see the bulls make their way back up to 325 or better to see this hourly equilibrium play out into tonight. So fake out, obviously not all equilibriums are created equal, and they don't always work ideally. And this is an example where knowing to bail is ideal, because the worst case scenario of what you can do right now is still be in your trade and not have a game plan. So if you're still in your bull trade on the trigger for XRP, what if Bitcoin turns around and loses the daily higher low pattern? Then XRP is going to be looking down at 3.1 and 3.11, and next thing you know, we have a complete turnaround and you're down in the hole over 10%. So keeping those losers to 1 to 2% prevents against, that deer in the headlights look of being down 10% before you even know what's happening. So Bitcoin, with that rejection, we're looking for the daily higher low to try and confirm, because we had the higher low at 3771 and the bulls defended that support level yesterday and it looked like a nice bullish reversal candlestick, but we know that we have to confirm trend changes to be confident that our higher lows are set. So the 4-hour trend needed this higher low and higher high to change the trend, confirm it, and to see that daily higher low set, and we did not get that. We see the higher low, lower high, lower low, unable to break resistance, and here we are. So we have not confirmed on the 4-hour time frame that the daily higher low has been established. It looks like a daily inside bar is probably going to form on Bitcoin, judging by how much time is left. It's 1:25 p.m. Eastern, and it's going to depend on how this inside bar breaks. If it breaks bearish tomorrow, we're probably going to lose the daily uptrend. If it breaks bullish, our new daily higher low will be set, and we'll watch to see how long the bulls can keep that up. ETH, a lot of people pointing out the fact that longs are at all-time highs and shorts are at all-time lows. That's definitely noteworthy because this is not the price action that you would anticipate during that scenario. So we have to be cautious because if we see a drop, there's going to be a lot of longs liquidated, and then I'm sure shorts are going to climb as well. So the only near-term support is 127.19 and 122.75. Certainly has been tight on Ethereum the past week plus, not a ton going on, but it has kept the bears in control with clear little 4-hour lower highs, no trend changes. Just like Bitcoin, we broke the 4-hour lower highs. Here's our higher low. Let's go for that trend change confirmation. Rejected, couldn't break it. Lower highs and lower lows continue. LTC, obviously the strongest looking daily chart of the three. We have a daily higher low forming now at 52.15. And the bulls were confident a daily higher low was going to form because of how much space they had to work with on the way up. The last one was 44.40, and we made it all the way up into the upper 50s. So a daily higher low is established, and we're not entirely confident that this is our higher low just yet for the same reason as everybody else. And you can see how similar this looks to Bitcoin. 4-hour trend change attempt rejected, lower low, rejection from resistance. Here we are. So we have to change the 4-hour trend to be confident the new daily higher low has been established. Otherwise, we could keep fading down into the upper 40s before we find this daily higher low. So it's a bullish reversal candlestick, but it's still a lower high every candlestick on the daily. And I need to see that trend shift, and I need to see the 4-hour trend shift before I call it a clear daily higher low. So at this point, we're looking for 52.15 to be that higher low, but we don't have the indication that that is it just yet. BNB is a double top on the daily time frame to be watching, and 15.56 is that resistance, and then we topped out at 15.43. So clear little double top. The most important support, 13.86 and 13.56. 13.56 holds more importance for me, but ideally the bulls want to hold both of those levels, and we're going to get tight here, it looks like, on this daily time frame for Binance. So heading into the weekend and perhaps early next week, it's going to get interesting as we either see a clear bull break of the double top or we lose the momentum for the bulls and we zoom out to the weekly to look for necessary healthy weekly consolidation. So if we were to come down after a tight range and break 13.55, in my opinion, that is the signal weekly consolidation is underway, which can still certainly be healthy weekly consolidation considering the size of the move that we've seen the last 2 months. And last, we'll wrap it up with TRX. And TRX is still not doing what the bulls need in terms of changing the daily trend to give us the weekly higher low. So the daily trend is lower high, lower high, lower high. Anything under 2316 is just another lower high, keeping the bears in control. And as far as support goes, it's 22, or make that 217, and then 2049. So a lack of support immediately nearby, the daily exponential resistance giving the bulls some trouble. We're looking for the weekly higher low to form, but we have not gotten the daily trend change to tell us that it has formed at this point. So we'll see if XRP can give us this hourly equilibrium. Need a bit more follow through to be confident in it. Bitcoin has a very clear quadruple top of resistance, or a quintuple top of resistance, 3870 to 3875 range. Have to break that level for the daily higher low to be confirmed. Otherwise, we are still in consolidation mode and the daily uptrend is at risk. And if we break that daily uptrend, we zoom out to the weekly and we look for weekly consolidation with 330 or 3337, the most important support level from there. So I hope you're having a good week. Hopefully not too many people were burned in that XRP little fake out. And it was just a scenario where I've given this example in the past. XRP is running ahead all gung-ho for the bulls and turns around and looks and sees nobody's following him in terms of the other major names. And ideally, we obviously want to see sector movement in the direction that our individual trade is going. Thanks again. We'll wrap it up with story time, and we'll see you in the near-term future. I think we're on story time, chapter 7. And now we are leaving the place that I'm going to go back to house sit. But in the meantime, I got a couple weeks where I'm going to explore Colorado. First things first, heading through Rocky Mountain National Park. So just a bunch of exploring around every day, just an adventure to hike and camp and look at new things. And I was planning on going westward and then wrapping my way around through Telluride and then swinging back down to the south through Durango and Mesa Verde National Park. So this is up on Rocky Mountain National Park. And some of the roads, the elevation that they get up to in the mountains and the passes that they go through are pretty incredible. If you've never been in big mountains, if you've only been on the East Coast, here in North Carolina, 4,000 feet is a big mountain. And over there, you're looking at 13,000 plus feet. And you can be driving up over, 10,000, 11,000 feet very significant. So nice wildflowers. When you're there in June and July, wildflowers can be popping off. And I was really taken aback and surprised by how many wildflowers there are in some of these fields. And of course, this cell phone picture doesn't do justice for the colors, but this was a nice lake. And again, all these lakes are pretty cool colors because a lot of them have runoff from these mountains and a bunch of minerals. And again, the water's freezing, but cool places to camp around. And in this particular instance, someone got lost up here. So I say how normally it's very quiet at about 5 p.m., but on this day, I don't know how you get lost. It wasn't like a kid got lost. A grown man got lost from around this lake. This is the destination where the trail leads up to. Anyway, so he was lost, and he got far enough away that, you know, we're screaming at the top of our lungs, and we can only hear the tiny, faintest yell in the distance. So we know he's somewhere out there. We know it's getting dark, and he might have to sleep outside. So fortunately, that didn't happen. And he stumbled his way. From the last people that came up onto the trail, they said, yeah, some guy stumbled his way out and was asking if he was on the right trail and was heading back down. So that was nice. I think he climbed his way up to a better perspective to try and see where he was at. Don't get lost, because even the most well-marked trails and well-marked landmarks, you can still get lost, I guess. So next I went to, this is up near Aspen, Conundrum Hot Springs. This is definitely one of the highlights of the trip and my favorite hot springs out of, 15 plus that I've been in. My favorite by far. It's an 8-mile hike to get up to it on some pretty steep elevation. So it's a whole day's journey, and that keeps out, that's almost like a selective barrier that the people are going to make it up there are people that really want to be there, not the kind of people that just pull off the road and, hop onto a waterfall for 10 minutes. So hiked my way up. And this is a view from the top. The tents and the camping area is behind us up on the hill. And there's the view of the valley. And this is the hot springs. And we're back to getting naked in the stories because that's the only way to get into a hot spring. So it was just a lot of fun. And it was a completely different contrast in terms of the kind of people that were there. Because I went up there on a weekday and I was only planning on going for 2 nights. And I got up there and said, this is the coolest place. I need to stay here. So I started rationing my food and trying to stay as long as possible. And it was the kind of thing where I went up on the weekday. So I was there maybe Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I ended up stretching it to 4 nights. And the first few nights, it was very calm, very laid back. The people that were there were some really cool people, had some great conversations in there, talking about lucid dreaming. That's where I was talking about lucid dreaming with a young woman. And then she came back the next day and said that she had her first one after our conversation. And just very mellow and low key. And then there was a point in time where I was just sitting up there in this bigger pool by myself at maybe 4 o'clock, and I was naked, and one by one groups just started coming up, and they all started coming at the same time. And it's younger college kids, and they got the boombox, and they got a pool volleyball, a blow up ball, and we're passing around bottles of rum, and I got some moonshine that my buddy made, and everybody's trading things. And so it gets to the point where everybody's just hopping in, and everybody is wearing bathing suits because you kind of get the feel, if there's a few naked people, everybody's more comfortable getting naked. If everybody's wearing their bathing suit, everybody stays wearing their bathing suit. So I was already in the water naked. Literally 20, 25 more people are in here with me to the point where, everybody's sitting in a circle and there's not really a whole lot of space. I'm the only naked person in that hot spring. It was just a really funny scenario because no one knew it until I got out, and I'm just this naked dude who's been in there the whole time. So that was funny, but it was a fun contrast because, again, like I said, I wasn't really interacting with people much on this trip other than passing conversations, and it was really nice to be hanging out with people my age and definitely a bit of a party up there on the weekend nights, and that was fun. Ended up eating glacier lilies to try and ration my food and make it last longer. So these are edible and pretty darn good, actually. So I was going around and eating a bunch of those, and I would ration my rice. And I made the mistake of bringing rice, but not bringing anything but brown rice. And when you eat brown rice every single day, it gets really, really boring. I didn't bring anything to spice it up. So there were some other hikers there who had some soy sauce, and they left soy sauce with me. And that was like a gift that completely changed everything because brown rice day after day was getting very old. There was also an older guy up there, and he lives, you could call him homeless, but he chose to live in these national areas, and they have rules where you can only stay in certain areas 6 months of the year. So you would have 2 camps, and he'd go 6 months to 6 months and just back and forth. And he would pretty much live up here at the hot spring, and he's been going for decades. And if anybody's been to this hot spring, there's a decent chance that you saw him. But he was just very knowledgeable on the area, and he had all these great stories. They were talking about how they brought a squash one time and put the squash under some rocks at the bottom of the hot spring, and a couple days later it was cooked, and they took it out and ate it. He also had some stories. Well, he had a lot of stories. That was a very interesting individual, someone that knowingly chooses to live on the land like that. And this man, the size of the pack, he was just this, frail little guy, but the size of the pack and the weight that he was carrying was putting me to shame. So it was extremely impressive how he was physically capable. And again, he's just been doing it for decades. So that's that. Go to Conundrum Hot Springs, Colorado, near Aspen. Definitely worth the hike up, although they could at this point. There were some issues where they were thinking about closing it and blah, 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 and the park services and all that. So double check and make sure it's still up. Hope you have a good day.